Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan, and the subject of this 10-minute moan is the new goal for the Tories. And Douglas Ross has announced that he wants to get rid of Humza Yousaf at the next election. And I'm reading this quotes from expressingstar.com. I'm not sure if it's a newspaper or not, but I'll put a link to it below. I can't see the quotes in any other paper, so I'm not sure where they got them from or whatever, but they published this about 10 hours ago. The headline is, Ross urges pro-UK voters to back Tories in a bid to oust Dud Yousaf. Can't say I disagree with that aim. What I would suggest, though, is how he's wanting to get there. Maybe doesn't sit with my thinking. However, if you read between the lines, I think he's trying to say the same as I'm saying, and that is, if Scotland tactically votes at the next Westminster election, could bury the SNP. So anyway, what's saying is, I'll just go down to these quotes here. He's calling for Scots to use the ballot to send Humza Yousaf packing, and he urged all pro-UK voters who have backed other parties to switch to the Tories this time round. He will tell the Scottish Conference, Tory Conference, this is happening next week. So obviously somebody's got wind of what he's going to do at the conference. It's taking place in Aberdeen. If pro-UK voters want to kick the Nationalists out, they need to unite behind the Scottish Conservatives in key seats. And I think that's very interesting, his choice of words there, in key seats, because that goes along the lines of anybody that thinks tactical voting is good. Don't go out and vote for Tory, or don't try and get folk to go out and vote for Tory at every single seat, because there's ones that they'll just never win. But in key seats, and I would suggest that's the ones that they're either holding just now, or came second at the last election, or polls are showing that they're a close second and ahead of Labour in a particular seat, then I would totally agree. Scottish Unionists must vote for the Scottish Conservatives. Together we can beat the SNP and take Scotland forward. I kind of don't agree with that. I don't think it's possible that the Tories would win enough seats in Scotland to become the government. I just don't see that possible at all. So together you can beat the SNP, together as Conservatives and just pro-Unionists. I think you need actually help from Labour, because we need them to win all their key seats as well. And then SNP could potentially have 0. But anything south of 20 seats at the Westminster election would be a fantastic result for the rest of Scotland if the SNP would get 20 or lower. His comments will come in a speech, will brand Mr Yousaf as being totally unfit to be Scotland's First Minister. Again, that's something I totally agree with. What he said was, in WhatsApp messages revealed by the UK COVID inquiry, Humza Yousaf said, "I am winging it and will get found out sooner than later." Agree with that. We all knew that a long time ago. Humza Yousaf has been found out in every job he's ever done. He was a transport secretary when the trains never ran in time and celebrated the launch of a ferry with painted on windows. He was a justice secretary who left the police at the breaking point and brought in the disastrous Hate Crime Act. He was also the health secretary who let waiting lists spiral out of control and Audit Scotland said had no vision for the NHS. Only in the SNP would he fail upwards. Kind of agree with that. He has failed in every ministerial job he's got, but for some reason the party decided that he was the chosen candidate to replace Nicola Sturgeon. Where are we? He's winging it with the livelihood of Scots, urging people across the country this general election, let's send Humza Yousaf packing. Totally with you in that one, Mr Ross. You'll get all the help and support you need off me to make that happen. Speaking about the First Minister, he will declare his days in office are numbered. The knives have been sharpened not just across the country, but within his own party as well. Even the SNP are starting to realise Humza Yousaf is a dud. Now, without breaking confidences and getting folk into bother, I can totally agree with that. Because I too have had comments come to me and direct communications from people within the SNP at quite a high level who support what I'm trying to achieve, which is fantastic, isn't it? We already pushed Nicola Sturgeon out. Now let's use this general election to shove Humza out the door. Can't agree with that at all, Douglas. Tory didn't shove Nicola Sturgeon out the door. Two things shoved Nicola Sturgeon out the door. Either it was her crazy call for a de facto referendum where they would use the general election to get 50% plus a vote and call for a referendum on the strength of that, which when the SNP went home and actually got the calculators out and thought, we're never going to get 50% of the vote, they soon went off the idea. And the other thing that I believe, in common sense, logic, and time scale will stand on the same side of this with me, Branchforn helped get rid of Nicola Sturgeon, because nobody's fooling me that she didn't see that coming. And if she did, it would have played a part in her resigning. Mr. Ross will argue that if pro-UK majority in key seats unites and votes together, then the Tories can beat the nationalists up and down the country. I get that as well, and I think he's, bear in mind, he's a leader of the Scottish Conservatives. So unlike me, who's got no affiliation to any party and can quite easily say, listen, tactical voting is the way to get rid of the SNP, he can't quite come out and say that. But reading between the lines, I think he kind of gets that. There's no point in people voting Tory in places that they're either strong Labour hold or Labour a strong second, because that will just take votes off Labour and make it harder for them to overtake the SNP in the key seats. But I do totally agree that unionists can beat the nationalists up and down the country. I love this bit. We can make sure it's not only a bad night for SNP, but a terrible night for Humza Yousaf. If we vote together in those crucial SNP Scottish Conservative seats, it won't be a camper van that Humza needs, it'll be a removal van, right? Dougie Ross, obviously, got a bit of a sense of humour. So, I think what he's saying there is, to a certain degree, exactly the same as me and the opinions of a lot of other people, that tactical voting should be and could make a massive dent and get SNP out of a lot of seats at Westminster, which will have massive knock-on effects. But unlike me, as I said before, he's a Scottish Conservative Party leader. He can't say, look, see in that area over there, you've got to really vote Labour. But I think he's saying it in as many words as possible for a guy who is the Tory leader. But it's heartening to see, because I spoke to officials within the Labour Party Thursday or Friday there. I think it was Thursday. Had quite a long telephone call. And again, same sort of vibe. They understand that they're not going to go out and go, let's tactically vote. They must go out and ask people to vote for their party. But I think the consensus of opinion is that the most important thing at this next election is making a big, massive dent, whether it's through Tory, whether it's through Labour, or whether it's even possible with a seat or two, Liberal Dem, then that's the best thing for Scotland. And although my wish, I would love to see the two, possibly three party leaders, opposition party leaders, stand up on a podium and say, look guys, just tactically vote. It's impossible for that to happen, but I think what a message it would send out for one term only. And the suggestion I put to a Labour Party official, by the way, was they should do that, and they should tell the public, we are going to do this, get rid of the SNP, and if we get them out of the equation of being in a coalition government with anybody, then we set up a coalition, but we tell the public, first and foremost, we only see this as a short-term answer to get rid of the SNP, and we'll call another election within the first 24 months of Parliament. Get them out the door, make them a minority party, and get on with proper politics, and not have a party who are actually nothing more than a group of activists who just want independence, right? And their pals in the Green Party that are meant to be just wanting environmental things, but have now got into foreign affairs, wars across the world, gay rights, all these things that aren't really a Green Party thing. But again, the Green Party are not a political party, they're activists. But now we've got two activists got together in a coalition in Scotland, and it's a train crash. So let's have an election. If the two party lead or three party opposition leaders could actually get together and just say to the nation, vote for us, we'll get rid of them, and then when we get a Scottish Parliament with, without that coalition, we'll put the big boy pants on and have another election within a short piece of time, vote them out, and then go on with trying to rectify and save this country. Because I'm not 100% sure if the Scottish Parliament has been a disaster of a project, but having a Scottish Parliament run by the SNP has been nothing other than a mitigating disaster. Could it be better with big boys in? I don't know. I'm trying to think what it was like before 2007. It was probably all right, to be fair. And let's stop pretending it's a government. Let's just have it as an assembly. Looking at the rule book we've got, that's what we have to deal with as a parliament, and do whatever is best for Scotland, because that has not happened since 2007. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so before, please subscribe, share if you like it on other social media channels, and most importantly of all, unless you're Humza Yousaf, have a great day. Cheery bye now.